maybe he'd be better off in an 8. All the good things we're going to see shortly that he done was from an 8 position.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. The balance of the team
a lot
is
of us
a
have
concern.
been saying that for some time with this England team, and then you put Foden in his obvious position 10. He was one of the few players that was a constant threat.
Yeah, exactly that. I think, you know, he started on the left, and we was expecting him to sort of hold his width earlier on in the game. But he came right in the centre, went in that number 10 role, playing all the key passes that we expected to. I agree with Rio. I think we need to relook at that midfield. I think Bellingham needs to play alongside Rice and Foden in the 10, and then we can start opening up teams. But at the moment, it's looking a little bit bleak going forward.
Yeah. Let's get a view from one of the players. Kyle Walker is with Kelly Summers.
Kyle, it all started so well, but unlike Sunday, you didn't get the result. Can you explain that England performance?
I think it's tournament football. Listen, this is a good Denmark team, and you know we're top of the group. So let's try and take a positive from this game. And we're not lost. We've conceded, you know, a great strike from outside the box. And sometimes you have to go goals. I thought the first goal of this, and we've done well and set off really well as we did the other day. But we managed not to see the game out. But we're top of the group, so let's move on to the next game. You were getting forward as a team, and both yourself as well, so much early on. Why did that change? I think it's just the game. It's the game. You know, you're sensing the game, you're sensing their feeling. They probably had the upper hand in certain parts of the game, so you go off of that. As defenders, you try and think of what if, rather than me charging forward, they go and score, and then all of a sudden they're blaming us as defence that we're not in position. So, listen, we've got enough up front to go and score goals, and we've got enough, you know, as a team to go and defend. So, listen, let's take it as a point, a well-deserved point, and we'll move on to the next game. Is the manager telling you to drop back deeper once you do score? No, not at all. Listen, the manager's expressed that he wants us to play free attacking football. Sometimes in tournament football you have to manage the game. It is what it is. That's why it's so hard to win tournaments. Just as like the Champions League, it's not a walkthrough. You don't turn up and just take 3 points. It's tough when you come to these grounds, hostile environments. But we know we can do better. We know we can do better, but we're top of the group, so let's move on to that. As an experienced head, you're the vice-captain. What are you going to be saying to those players in the dressing room now? Oh, they'll know. They'll know as individuals, as a team collectively, they'll know. We've got another gear, but we haven't lost the game. So, obviously, everyone wants us to come and steamroll teams 3-4-0. It's not football. It's not football these days. And we've got a point. We'll move on, as I keep saying. We're top of the group, and we just keep going like that. Thanks for your time, Carl. Cheers.
Well, England extend their run of group stage games unbeaten to 12. They remain top, but their qualification last 16 is yet to be confirmed. All 4 teams can still qualify from Group C. Gareth Southgate's men will need a result against Slovenia next Tuesday even to make sure of their progression to a 4th consecutive knockout round, albeit no team has ever failed to get through as a 3rd place team with 4 points. So in reality, England are pretty much to Harry Kane. Let's start with his goal, Rio. It was a classic striker's goal. He was there, the ball broke to him, and he doesn't miss chances very often.
And that's where the debate will always be, because there's so many things you can look at with Harry Kane and go, oh, he could be better at this, he could be better at that. But there ain't many in the game that are better at doing this, which is finding the space in the box, freeing himself up and being able to dispatch a goal like that. So, and that is the hardest thing in the game to do. So he's doing the hardest thing in the game. He does it with aplomb. But we're all looking at what he doesn't do and going, okay, does that mean we have to change the way England play? Do we have to change maybe Harry Kane or not? But I ask you, Tom, what do you think?
Of Kane in general.
Yeah. In terms of as a manager's perspective, do you take out them goals, or do you don't
No,
play?
I think I'm just sitting here and listening, and I think Kane is a fantastic player. I think we all do that. He's a fantastic goal scorer. So how does we get the team to work in the right way? And I'm sure Gareth, he know after these 2 games, it was not perfect. It was far from perfect. He knows that. And he's searching, no doubt, what is the best lineup. And it's so easy for all of us, and myself including, to be clever up here and come with good suggestions when we don't have, the hand on the desk, okay, on the burning desk.
But it's sort of our job to do.
Yeah, and I agree. But even us, we are not sure of what is the strongest lineup up there.
I am.
Yeah.
I am. I know.
But you can't be sure. You can't be sure. So I think Kane is very important for that England team. 100%. I think actually Gareth was brave today to take him off.
Yep.
And he changed 3 players during. So I think he was proactive to try to change the game.
I think he just needs to adapt. When we talk about players and how they want to play, he's used to playing in that number 10 role. Obviously, we showed the goal with Rio, and you just look at his movement. Always knows where to be. That side of the game is perfect. But I just want to show you a few clips of his overall game and where I believe England can improve. So this is Harry Kane here. This is what he's used to doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like Alan said, if you've got runners. But what that's doing, if you look at Denmark's back 3 there, they've got an easy day. You need to stretch them. This is too easy. He needs to trust the players around him, Foden and Bellingham and Saka, to be able to get in the ball in the half spaces and play the ball to him. Here again, we see him, and it can be a positive as well because he wants to do the defensive work for the team. He is doing a shift for the team. But now, England can't get out. If they want to go on the counter-attack and explode, it's too deep to do that. And it happened in the first game against Serbia. It happened today against Denmark. Again, in them areas, it gives the ball away. And, you know, it costs the team a goal. So this is not us saying Harry Kane shouldn't be playing. He's just got to find a way to play well within this team and trust his teammates around him to do the jobs in them pockets of space.
Do you know? Go on.
But if you look at his touches, this is what I mean. We don't need him to do that stuff. That he's got one touch in the box, and of course it was a key touch because he scores the goal. And you can always do that, but trust the players around you to get the ball to him.
I agree 100% with what Micah saying there. But what I would say is that for all of the shouts and one of them saying, got to stretch the team, get them in behind. He's actually one of the best target men about, by the way. If you can get the ball into his feet, we don't trust him enough or take risks. It's a risky ball to play from back to front, a pass into his feet. He can hold off 1 or 2 players, draw a foul, get us up the pitch again in a different way, but we don't even play the ball into him. That's my frustration too.
So what do you think on this guy? You've played in these positions. You was great at spinning the channels. What's your thoughts on this?
In all honesty, I think Harry Kane needs to do a lot better. I think his movement was minimal. He didn't look to go behind, and he doesn't often. But even when he comes short, he's just drifting short very kind of lethargically. He's plodding short, and that's not going to help. So when you're a striker, your 2 jobs are obviously score goals, which he's brilliant at. He has been all his career, and he's wonderful at that sort of thing. But I think he needs his manager to say, right, I need a little bit more from you, Harry. I would have expected that if I'd have had that kind of performance. Because as a striker, let me tell you, he's up against 3 at the back. So he has got to stretch that team. Even when he comes short, you've got to go that way first to keep them up there, and then you come short. So when you get the ball coming short, you don't have to go 20 yards to get it short, like he ambles in, and they just let him go, so you don't get it. So he's not creating the space for himself for a start, and vice versa. And he's never really been a player that spins that much behind. But it's the same thing. If someone's in midfield, and got the ball, and you want it behind, you go that way first, and then you go behind. And then you stretch the team. If you've got someone going behind, you can stretch the team, and that creates more space for the midfield players behind you. But in his defence, even when that happened on occasions, there wasn't enough of the midfield pushing up from behind. So it's a whole team thing. But he has to.
You know what he has? I totally agree. But there is no variation in the way he's playing. So to give the defender something to think about, if he's always coming short and just kind of being laboured in that respect, me as a defender, I'm not having any worries about him going that way. So I can just condense the pitch the whole time.
But isn't that what he's done the last 4 or 5 years?
Yes.
Then just had runners.
I think the key is the runners.
Yeah. So we need runners around. I think he's doing what he's done and done very well.
Yeah. That's why you need Foden in the team.
Exactly. Maybe or other runners or Foden is going or Jude is going behind, and he got 1 touch in the box. Of course, that's good. It's ended in the back of the net, but he didn't get enough service, maybe, or they maybe didn't put enough crosses in. I think that's another thing.
I think he gets frustrated, and I think sometimes when he does that, he ambles back, and he wants to play his part defensive in the team. But if you're playing fairly deep anyway, and your striker comes deep, as we saw on some of those clips that Micah showed, it exacerbates the issue. Because you're too far, then you've got no target to hit at all. But he's got to stay high under the way England are playing, and then it gives them a chance to get out and get people around him
But he did come short once, and Saka stayed high, and he actually played Saka, and Saka was 1v1.
Yeah.
He done it in the Euros final when we scored the goal with Luke Shaw. He comes deep, but if you have to have players that are high or running beyond, otherwise it becomes just clogged up in the middle areas and there's zero effect.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear from Harry Kane. Here he is with Kelly.
Well, Harry, a goal for you, the first of the Euros, but a frustrating night for England overall. Do you share those frustrations?
Yeah, I think so. I think, look, we said before the tournament, there's no easy game in major tournament football, and I think that's showing. For sure, we got levels that we can breach, and we can be better in both with the ball and without the ball. There's no question. But I think the sign of a good team is when you're not playing at your best and you still find a way to get results, like we have done in the last 2 games. So we're top of the group. We're all but qualified, which is what I said in the press conference before. That's the #1 objective, and yeah, we know we can improve. So yeah, I know there'll probably be loads of noise and a bit of disappointment back home about but we experienced this in the last Euros as well when we drew to Scotland. So it's just a time to stay calm, a time to reflect and try and improve for sure. But step by step, we'll get there.
You say no easy games, but are England making it a bit harder than it needs to be at the moment?
I think we're struggling, like I said, both with and without the ball. We'll have to go away and look at it back, but I think the pressure in both games just hasn't been quite right, and also with the ball, we haven't been good enough. That's the bottom line from top to bottom, from me all the way to Pix. Everyone's just dropping below their level a little bit in terms of retaining the ball, playing under pressure. I mean, it was tough out there with the heat, with the pitch. It wasn't easy, but yeah, look, we're calm. It wasn't our greatest game, but we got away with a draw, which is a good sign, and now we can hopefully build.
Is it on you or the manager that you are dropping deeper when you do score?
No, I think it's something that we've got to try and get better at. I don't think it's just when we score. I think we are starting games well, but then I just think in general, maybe when the teams are dropping a few players deeper, we're not quite sure how to get the pressure on and who's the one supposed to be going. So in the second half, we tried to change it a little bit with me and Jude playing in front of their 2 midfielders and then trying to get up, but it was difficult. It was a difficult game. Credit to Denmark, they're a really good side. They obviously got to the semi-final in the last Euros, so they caused us some threats. But yeah, overall, we just got to look back and see where we can improve.
Thanks, Harry.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, remarkably honest, and obviously asked whether it was a tactical thing. I mean, he pretty much said it was, really, without saying it, obviously.
Yeah, and this, I love when players are honest, when they come here and don't just fumble you through an interview and just try to back you off. That was really refreshing to see from Harry Kane as a captain, but it concerns me that they're trying to get to grips with certain tactics and it's not coming out in the game.
We didn't know how to do it.
We didn't know how to do it. Yeah. I mean, that would be a worry for me, and I just think, please just get them out on a training ground again and start doing some repetition and some drills. But
they just need to work together as a unit, don't they?
And that was the difference between the two teams today.
Defence and attack, the gap's too big.
That's
midfield,
that's basics,
you've got
Mike.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's a wonderful player, playing in midfield, finding it very difficult. And it's just like part of the team are doing one thing and part of the team are doing the other. They just need to work together as a collective.
As a manager, Thomas, what would you do now? If you were looking at that England team, what would you do in terms of trying to get them to be a team that plays as a unit?
Take them out for a beer.
That's not a bad idea, by the way. No, I think there's a couple of things that that in general they have done good over time.
Of course.
He just said that it was the 12 games unbeaten in the group stages. Yeah. That's fantastic. Okay, so and in the last 3 tournaments we talked about, they've been growing into the tournament. Walker said they're calm. Kane saying they're calm. We know we need to progress, but they're also saying it was not their top moment. So there's no doubt there's things they were looking at. There's things Gareth will look at and see if they can maybe get a little bit higher, if that's what he wants.
Yeah. Okay.
Because.
Well, I suspect it is because he put Watkins on.
Yes.
And he brought off Harry Kane, which is a bold decision. And when he did, Watkins came on, and all of a sudden, like I was talking about before, he was looking to get behind. And that stretches the team.
But look at his running there, and look what it does to the Denmark defence. They automatically drop off, and that's what we was talking about. And this is what he can inject into this team. He can run in behind, times his run brilliantly, and then it's a good save, but a goalkeeper. But you mentioned as well, Gary, what can he do off the ball? Can he press? And that's exactly what he can do, which then gets the team higher up the pitch and just makes them a little bit more dynamic. Harry Kane's got a big role to play for England, but in terms of the way England want to play and they want to be aggressive, Watkins as well has a big role to play too.
Can you play high, press high as a unit with Harry now? Or not?
I said before,
can you get him to buy into it? If you push up from the back and give them
I
that
think he can.
support
I
from
think he can.
behind.
Yeah, I think
he can. I think he could do the first press. 100%. The team's got to push really high. They do the first press together, like at Manchester City, different players, of course, but they win the ball within 2 or 3 seconds. As it is now, if England drop off, I don't think you can press like that.
I don't think it's down to just Harry Kane, though. This isn't just a Harry Kane problem.
No,
I think
it's not. That's
Harry
a tactical issue.
Yeah, Harry Kane can go. But my big issue today was that the midfielders didn't follow him behind. The only time they followed him behind, we nick the ball and get a shot on the edge of their box. So the team as a unit have to press together. The problem is you looked at one team today, looked like they were a well-drilled outfit who knew all their roles, man for man. Where against an England team, who looked like they were looking on their shoulder for advice and guidance as when to go. That can't be the case at this level.
Denmark were a lesson, weren't they, in how to gauge